إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله قال الله عز وجل في القرآن المجيد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون صدق الله العظيم أما بعد. We begin by praising Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, and we ask for His forgiveness. And as Muslims, we declare that nobody deserves to be worshipped in any way besides Allah. And we declare that Muhammad was the last and final prophet and messenger that has been sent for our guidance and the guidance of all humanity until the end of time. Brothers and sisters, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was known as Prophet Joseph in the Bible or in the English language. Prophet Yusuf was one of the greatest prophets, one of the greatest human beings that ever walked the face of the earth. And he's so great that Allah gave him a separate surah in which he was named after. The surah is named after Prophet Yusuf by saying this is Surah Yusuf. And one of the interesting things about Surah Yusuf is that it's the only surah in the entire Quran where it talks from beginning to the end about only one prophet. And it mentions his entire story in that one surah. There is no other prophet that has been given an entire surah like that, where the whole story is just about him. If you look at Surah Ibrahim, you look at Surah Nuh, it doesn't only talk about those prophets. And it doesn't give the whole story only in that surah. But Surah Yusuf is unique in that sense. It gives the entire story, and it gives it in chronological order. Means that Prophet Yusuf is one of the special prophets there. And there's a few lessons I want to highlight from one incident that happened in the life of Prophet Yusuf that all of us should remember, all of us should keep in mind. And that is with regards to how to convey the message of Islam to other people. How do we convey the message of Islam? And it's difficult sometimes for people to do so. So let's go to the story of Surah Yusuf, the story of Prophet Yusuf when he was thrown into prison unjustly in the land of Egypt. So he was in Egypt and he was accused of a crime which he did not commit, and he was thrown into prison for that. And now Prophet Yusuf, peace and blessings be upon him, he encounters an audience of people who are inmates. There are people who've been thrown in there and they've committed really bad things, they've done violent crimes, they've done a lot of different things. And two of these inmates come up to Prophet Yusuf and they ask him a specific question. They ask him the question and they say that, you know what, I've seen a dream. One of them says, I saw a dream where I was pressing grapes and I was making grape juice which will eventually turn into wine. And I kept on seeing this dream and I was confused. Why do I keep seeing this dream? Something's going on here. And the second inmate, he said that I saw that I'm carrying bread. I have like a loaf of bread on top of my head. And while I'm carrying it, some birds are coming and they're eating from the bread that's on top of my head. And it's kind of a strange dream. But it's not only strange, it keeps recurring. So they got a little bit concerned and they said, this is something weird. We need to figure out what's going on. We feel like there's some sign being given to us from somewhere. We don't know from where. Maybe it's a spirit, maybe it's God, we don't know. So what they did was they came to Prophet Yusuf and they said, نَبِّئْنَا بِتَأْوِيلِهِ إِنَّا نَرَاكَ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. They said, can you tell us the interpretation of this dream? Why are we asking you? إِنَّا نَرَاكَ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. We see that you're among the people who are excellent in manners, excellent in character. There's something special about you and that's why we came to you. So we're asking you this question. Now the first thing I want to reflect upon is this. This is Prophet Yusuf. They don't know that he's a prophet. They don't believe that he's a prophet. These are people who don't even believe in one God. They don't even believe in Allah. And these are people who have committed crimes against other people and they're in prison right now. But they're coming to Prophet Yusuf for one reason. They could have gone to all the other inmates. They could have gone to anybody. They could have gone to the big gang member leader or something like that, but they didn't. They went to Prophet Yusuf. The question is why? And they explained why in the verse. We see that you are min al-muhsinin. You're from the people of ihsan. There's something special about your character. We've noticed that you're not like the other people in this prison. You have a special demeanor. You have a special character. They probably saw him praying or something and they didn't really know what the prayer looked like and what he was doing. So what it means is that for a Muslim, the first lesson we take is for a Muslim, we should not be just like any other random person on the street. Say Muslims, we should try to be like everybody. I hear this sometimes. Say we should try to blend in and be like everybody else. No, I'm telling you the opposite. We should not try to be like everyone else. We should try to be better than everyone else. We should be the best. As Muslims, we should stand out among the people for generosity, for love, for kindness, for compassion, for intelligence, for wisdom, for patience. We should have these qualities and stand out. One, because we're Muslim, we should be doing that anyways. And when we do that, and when we do our part, you know what's going to happen? People are going to come and they're going to be more interested and say, hey, Muhammad or Aisha, something's different about you. And it's not the hijab that you're wearing. There's something more different about you than just the clothing, right? It's not just the beard or the dress. Something's different. You're always so calm and you're peaceful and you seem like there's like light on your face. What's going on? And then you will have the opportunity to explain what Islam is. You'll have the opportunity to say, you know what makes me this way? It's because I'm a Muslim. Do you know what a Muslim is? And then you get an opportunity to speak. This is exactly what Prophet Yusuf was doing. But here's the thing. Sometimes you may think that, people don't like to hear or talk about religion nowadays. There are many people that are kind of turned off. So if you talk about Islam, they'd be like, I don't know if I should bring up Islam with them. Even if you talk about just saying God, Allah, the one God, if you say God, some people today, they're like, let's not talk about religion, Let's talk about the latest computer game that came out. Let's talk about the new restaurant that just opened. We can go and eat there. We can have hours and hours of conversation about that, but let's not talk about religion. It's a very sensitive topic. We don't want to ruin our friendship. But here's the second thing that we learned from Prophet Yusuf. Prophet Yusuf responded because he knew the state of mind of these two inmates. You can't just all of a sudden say, you know what, I can tell you the interpretation of the dream, but you know what? You need to start worshiping Allah first. You need to stop worshiping these idols that you're worshiping in Egypt over here. He didn't say that. So what did Prophet Yusuf respond? He said that don't worry. Your food in the prison, your food will not come to you until I have actually given you the interpretation of these dreams. Meaning that he said, before your next meal comes to you, I am going to give you the interpretation of exactly what you want. I'm going to fulfill your need that you have. These are people coming in an emotional state. They want an answer to their question, and he's responding to them and saying, don't worry. And just think about food for people in prison. This is like the main delight of the day that they'll get, right? The food that they're getting is something. So he mentioned something positive because these people were in a state of distress. Oh, these dreams are disturbing me, they're bothering me, I don't know what they mean. So he wants to put their mind at ease, their heart at ease. So the first thing he mentioned, food, and he said, don't worry. I can go ahead and give you the interpretation of these dreams. And then he began explaining. And he says that this is the knowledge which my Lord has given me. My Lord, he hasn't explained who Allah is yet. He just said, my Lord. My Lord has given me the knowledge of being able to interpret these dreams, so I can do exactly what you're asking me to do. I can help you out, don't worry. Now, imagine the psychological state of the person. They're going to be calm. They're going to be put at ease now. Now they're willing to listen. But if someone is hesitating, if someone is in a state of panic, and you try to talk to them just purely rationally, but they're not at ease yet, they're not going to listen to what you're saying. I just recently came back from Hajj, and there was one woman who came, I remember in the elevator she came, she said, I can't find my husband, and I'm panicking, I don't know where he is. I said, don't worry, it's okay. He's with another member of the group over there. He should be arriving, back at the hotel any minute now. He's perfectly fine. Makkah is a very safe city, nothing's going to happen to him. She couldn't even hear the words that I was saying. She couldn't hear what I was saying. And later on, when she found her husband returned, he was fine, everything was safe. I said, how are you doing, ma'am? Sister, and she said, everything is fine. Hajj is so nice, everything is going great. I said, everything okay with the husband? Oh yeah, everything's fine. As if she didn't even remember that it happened, because she was panicking and she couldn't even focus on anything. So when someone is panicking, someone is distressed, you need to put them at ease first. And this is exactly what Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, was doing. He was putting their heart at ease, and now he's making the next step, which is a transition. He knows that he can't just all of a sudden start talking about Islam and about I'm a prophet and I'm receiving revelation from Allah and you should believe in me. But he made a transition and said, this is the knowledge which my Lord has given me. And then he starts saying, why? Why did Allah give me this knowledge? Because I have abandoned the ways of those people who don't believe in Allah and those people who reject the hereafter. And he began explaining. And he started, explaining the reason why we should only worship Allah. And he said, Ya sahibi as-sijn, O my two companions of the prison, in a very beautiful and respectful manner. أَأَرْبَابٌ مُتَفَرِّقُونَ خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهُ الْوَاحِدُ الْقَهَّارُ. What is better, that you worship all these different deities, the God rain, the God of rain and the God of thunder and the God of all of these things, or you worship the one God who's in control of everything, who can overpower all these deities and these idols that you're worshiping? So he tried to appeal to their intellect as well and explain to them, you know what, we should only worship one God. But the key that I want to focus on here is, look at the transition. Look at the transition that Prophet Yusuf made. These people came and asked for the interpretation of their dreams. And he said, I can give you the interpretation of the dream. But he realized that they're in need of something more important than getting this dream interpreted. That's something that's going to benefit them in this world maybe. But they need something more important. And he realized it's his responsibility as a Muslim to make sure to convey that which is more important for these people, because he cared for them, because he cared about them. And that's a lesson for us, is that if somebody comes to us with a need and we would like to help that person, yes, we should help him. In fact, Prophet Yusuf, at the end of the story, he helped them, he gave them the interpretation of their dreams, and it helped them in the future to understand what's going on. But at the same time, they ended up believing in the message that Prophet Yusuf, peace and blessings be upon him, had taught him about Allah, about why they're here, the purpose of life. As Muslims, we should never shy away. I know there's a little bit pressure building up in the community, and sometimes the TV talks about Muslims like this, or newspaper talks like that. As Muslims, we should be proud of Islam, and we should realize that we have the truth with us. And we should not shy away from sharing this truth with other people. It's a responsibility for all of us, for the young and for the elderly people as well. So how can we do this in an environment where somebody, you can't just walk up to your best friend who's not a Muslim and you've never talked to him, or your coworker and you've never talked to them about religion before. And you say, I've been working with them for 10 years. I've been in the same school with them for, the last 3 years. And we never talked about anything about Islam, about religion, about God, about church, about anything. You say, if I just bring it up, it's going to be awkward. So what do? You do exactly what Prophet Yusuf, peace and blessings be upon him, did. Somebody's talking right now about Palestine and what's going on, how the people are suffering. Somebody's talking about Syria and the suffering that's going on over there, and the refugee crisis and all of that. Take that topic and build from that topic that you're able to discuss. People are willing to talk about it, and make a transition and say, you know what? These people are Muslim. And one of the reasons why people are not looking at them, why? Simply because they believe in one God, because they believe in Allah. Talk about Masjid al-Aqsa in Palestine. Talk about the history of it. It's a transition. There's a million opportunities and ways to make a transition in a conversation so that you can actually get to a point because you care about that person and you're willing to talk about the message of Islam so that they can get to know about it. And I'm telling you, every single person in this audience, every single person who's accepted Islam, they were introduced to Islam in some way, either by a book or by some friend of theirs who did not shy away from telling them what Islam is. So don't wait for somebody to come and ask you. It's our responsibility to convey the message with wisdom, with intelligence, in a nice way, in a calm way, but it's still an obligation and a responsibility that we must fulfill. So 3 lessons we want to focus on. Number 1, as a Muslim, let your character stand out. And when it does, you will find automatically people will be more interested in talking to you, and you get more of an opportunity to talk about Islam with them. Number 2, don't be shy. What's the worst that can happen? Someone's going to say, I don't want to talk to you anymore because you mentioned Islam. I don't want to be your friend anymore because you used the word Allah in front of me. It's not the best friend to have. Don't worry about that. And I guarantee you, people here in America, they're more open-minded than perhaps you realize. Most people are willing to listen and they're willing to have a conversation. So don't shy away. And number 3, make sure you speak with knowledge and you speak with wisdom. The same way that Prophet Yusuf, peace and blessings be upon him, was speaking. We ask Allah to give us the strength and the wisdom to be able to convey the message of Islam to other people. And we ask Allah to give us the knowledge to be able to convey this message in the correct way. Ameen. Astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa li sa'iril muslimin fastaghfiruhu innahu huwal ghafurur rahim. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ba'd. The second topic that I wanted to talk about is a program that we have, which is going to be tomorrow at 3 p.m. It's a very special program, and I want to emphasize this program. It's called Searching Smart, and it's about finding a spouse for marriage. And I know there's many people in the community right now, they are looking for a spouse and they don't exactly know how to go about it. But what's more important is that they don't know exactly what they're looking for. And this is a problem, which is why, and we find that in today's society, the family is breaking apart and many marriages are breaking apart. And what you find is that we tried to put in safeguards. For example, here at IAOC, we have a policy. We will not perform any marriage without premarital counseling first. But you know what the problem with that is? The premarital counseling ends up failing when people don't take it seriously. And one of the trends I've been seeing is why people don't take it seriously is because they already became emotionally involved with the other party before getting the counseling. Before knowing what you want in marriage, before deciding, is this the right person for me? If you become emotionally involved with a person, and every young person is susceptible to this. If you're emotionally involved, you're not thinking intelligently anymore. So if you come and you say, you know what, I always wanted this and I wanted that, but brother so-and-so, he doesn't have that, but it's okay because, you know, I kind of have feelings for him and all of that, and you kind of let things slide. But these things can potentially come back in your marriage, and it ends up ruining marriages because people either one, they don't know what they're looking for, or they set aside what they know that they're supposed to be looking for when they're considering marriage. So I highly, highly recommend that you come and attend this seminar. Whether you're unmarried and you're looking for a spouse, or whether you're married and you're trying to figure out, you know what standards should I change in my relationship? What should I be looking for? How can we adapt and evolve as a couple? Or you're a parent who wants to help your child eventually start searching and looking for a spouse. This is a very important seminar, and I cannot emphasize it enough. Because what I find is in the community, people look for 2 types of things. They look for worldly qualifications. So you hear all the time people saying, you know what are you looking for? I want someone who has a degree. That's it? That's great. You know how many people have a degree nowadays? Almost everyone has a degree. What does that mean? There's millions of people out there who have a college degree. Is that sufficient for what you're looking for? So I'm looking for someone from a good family. And we know today, because the family dynamics, sometimes you have some people who do not represent the family. The family may be great, but but the person individually is a little crazy. Is completely different from the rest of the family. So you have to look at the entire package. You have to look beyond some of these things. When people talk about religion, say, I'm looking for a religious person. Okay, what do you mean by a religious person? I hear from people, brothers and sisters, someone who's learned Arabic, they can understand the Quran. That's your criteria? That's all you're looking for? Okay, no, someone who's memorized the Quran. Memorizing the Quran is a beautiful thing. But does it mean that the person is applying that Islam in their daily lifestyle? Are you looking at their character? Are you checking what kind of friends they hang around with? Do you know other things to look for? Do they have financial stability? Do they have intellectual maturity? These are very important things. Some people say, I'm looking for a sister who wears hijab. Did you check? Did she wear hijab out of her own choice and she has the confidence in wearing the hijab? Or is she doing it simply because her parents told her to do so, or for whatever other reason? We need to look deeper. Not just praying 5 times a day and we say, that's sufficient for me. So it's very important we not be shallow in our criteria and what we're looking for. And of course, at the same time, we make sure that we're up to the standard of the type of person that we're looking for at the same time. So please do not neglect to attend this event. It's going to be tomorrow at 3 p.m. and it's with Sister Noha Al-Shughairi, who's a specialist in this field, and she has her master's degree in the field of counseling. She's a MFT, she's a marriage and family therapist. So please attend this program. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and guide us at all times. Oh Allah, help those people who are suffering and those people who are undergoing difficulties. Oh Allah, you know those people in the different lands and the different regions who are encountering poverty, those people who are encountering oppression. Oh Allah, help them and ease their pain. Oh Allah, those refugees, help them to find a land that they can settle in. Oh Allah, those people who are tyrants and oppressors who are oppressing these people, oh Allah, remove them from power and do not let their plans to succeed. Oh Allah, help liberate the lands that have been occupied. Oh Allah, help liberate the minds that have been intellectually occupied. Oh Allah, allow us to live as true Muslims and allow us to die in a state of true belief. Ameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. I have a few very important announcements, so please just remain seated for 2 minutes, inshallah. Number 1, the time for Fajr will be changing this Sunday to 6:15 a.m. and the time for Asr will be changing to 4:30 p.m. So Fajr 6:15 and Asr 4:30 starting this Sunday. Number 2, Friday, the next Friday, is going to be the day of Ashura, which is the 10th of Muharram. And it's encouraged that everyone is going to be fasting on that day. And it's encouraged if you can add a day prior to it or add a day after it, it's encouraged to do so as well. Because of that fasting, and the reason why we're fasting is because of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. We're celebrating what happened to him when he, crossed the sea and Pharaoh and the Pharaoh were drowned. It's not a day of mourning, it's a day of celebration actually. So we're going to be fasting for that reason. We're not going to be serving food on next Friday, because of the day of Ashura. It's a special day. So please do a little research about it or something like that. Find out what Ashura is and you can fast. Number 3, tonight we have a special program at 8 p.m. It's about social media trends, part 2, about how this can potentially threaten a teenager's safety online. So it's with the same brother who did it last time. It was a very good workshop. Please check it out. Number 4, we have a Arabic program tomorrow night with Sheikh Muhammad Faqih called وَذَكِّرْهُمْ بِأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ. It's about the seerah, the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the Arabic language. And then number 5, we have a class in Urdu, which is going to be starting, which is part of the College of Islamic Studies. It's going to be a 5-week course, and it's going to start on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at 11:45 a.m. right here in the Musalla. It's going to be taught by Sister Nasreen Khan. It's going to be, again, in the Urdu language, but it's not a tafsir class. It's a class primarily about Islamic law, about how you perform wudu and how you make tayammum and rules concerning menstruation, women's period and prayer and all of that stuff. So it's a fiqh class. I highly encourage everyone to tell their friends who speak Urdu or prefer an Urdu language, course to attend that class, inshallah ta'ala. Wa aqimus salah.